Short story devices. There are 9 of them actually. The first one I want to discuss is author's purpose. Author's purpose is the reason or intention an author has for writing any piece of literature, nonfiction or fiction. Now, when you think of author's purpose, think of a nice big piece of pie, P-I-E. Persuade, inform, entertain. These are the 3 reasons that an author writes what he writes. The first one, the P, persuade. Persuade is where the author desires to convince you or persuade you to be on his or her side of a topic. Now, when an author writes a persuasive piece, they're using methods of persuasion to persuade you to their viewpoint. Therefore, they have little facts, lots of opinions. Now, typically you see persuasion pieces in your editorials, television commercials, and advertising in magazines and billboards. The I stands for inform. Inform means to educate or inform the reader. The writer is trying to literally teach you something. Now, the reader then is able to form his or her own opinion. Therefore, there are a lot of facts, very little opinion. Now, in the informational text, you'll most likely see these in textbooks. The last E is for entertain. This is for pure reader enjoyment, and you'll see these in your books, your movies, your short stories, and your everyday television shows. The next device is twofold, characters, but we're really focusing on characterization. Now, characters are the people or actions, people or animals who propel the action in a story. Now, typically an author uses 4 main character types at their disposal. You have the dynamic character. The dynamic character develops, changes, learns over the course of the story. You have the static character. They remain the same throughout the entire story. A flat character has one single trait they exhibit throughout the entire story. Kind of dull, sometimes can be exciting. And then lastly, you have a round character. A round character is the most transparent. They reveal both their virtues and their flaws. How do you learn about these characters? Through characterization. Characterization is the method you use, the method an author uses to give you information about the character. Now, there are 2 types of characterization. You have direct characterization. Direct characterization is where the author directly tells you, the reader, information about the character. So you have the author speaking through the text to the reader by saying, Annie is smart. The second type is indirect characterization. Indirect characterization is where the author gives clues in the text so the reader can determine who or what the character is like. Now, what are the clues the author can use? The author can use by what the character says, what the character does, what the character thinks, and how the character acts. The author uses these clues, the reader reads them in the text, and determines Annie is smart. The third device is point of view. This is the vantage point or the viewpoint of the narrator in a literary work. Point of view, or POV for short, gives us, the readers, the type and amount of info the writer reveals through the narrator. Now, there are 3 main types of point of view writing. First person, third person omniscient or omniscient, and third person limited. First person point of view is where a character in the story is literally telling the story. So we as the reader, we only see or hear what the character does. So it's not 100% reliable because we only know the thoughts of our narrator, one of the characters. The second type is more common type. Third person omniscient. This is the voice outside the story telling the story. This narrator knows all about any character. What a character sees, hears, does, or thinks. They know it all. Now, typically in a third person omniscient, you're going to see pronouns like he, she, or they, as opposed to first person, where you'll see pronouns like I, me, my, we, our, us. And then the last one is third person limited. The narrator is still outside the story, but this time the narrator is only limited to one character. So they see the world of the story through the eyes of one character. And they can only see that one character's thoughts.